The movie begins with our main character, a young girl named Kim Se-eun, visiting her mother's grave in the freezing cold weather. The extreme cold causes her to lose consciousness, but a horse named General comes to her rescue, carrying her back home. In reality, her father is a horse breeder, and General happens to be her mother's favorite horse. General is incredibly obedient and shows a lot of care towards Se-eun. The horse follows her around, waits for her after school, and even plays with her. However, Se-eun's father disapproves of her close bond with the horse. One day, an employee from the farm, Okla, places Se-eun on General's back and takes her for a ride, teaching her the basics of becoming a jockey. Unfortunately, Se-eun's father discovers them and angrily scolds them. Out of fear, Okla makes the horse run, saving them from punishment, at least for the moment. On their way back home, Se-eun spots a group of jockeys racing horses in a competition. She takes out a photo of her jockey mother and declares her aspiration to be one of them someday. Despite her father's warnings to stop interacting with General, Se-eun secretly visits the stable and spends quality time with the horse. They play together, travel, and Se-eun takes good care of General. Over time, Se-eun grows into a young college woman. It's revealed that she secretly took a jockey's exam without her father's knowledge, and the results will be announced soon. Her dream is to follow in her mother's footsteps and become a jockey. Later, as General becomes pregnant, a veterinarian checks on her and determines that they need to assist in delivering the foal. The vet states that they have no option but to pull out the baby horse forcefully. Se-eun tries to intervene, but they proceed regardless. Unfortunately, as they successfully pull out the baby horse and clean it, Se-eun looks at General and realizes that she didn't survive the difficult birthing process. Overcome with grief, Se-eun cries and embraces General, saying that the horse was like her mother. As the foal's birth gets complicated, the vet recommends putting the baby horse down because it can't survive without its mother. Both the vet and Se-eun's father are all set to give the syringe to end the foal's life. Just at that moment, Se-eun steps in and prevents any harm coming to the baby horse. She promises to care for the foal herself, just as she grew up without her mother. Born during a stormy night with lightning and thunder all around, she names him Thunder and makes a vow to his late mother General in heaven to take good care of her child. A few days later, Se-eun's father receives a call from the Horse Racing Association, informing him that Se-eun has signed up for a professional rider exam without his knowledge. Furious about this, he decides to sell Thunder without consulting Se-eun, leading to a family dispute. Se-eun's father has envisioned a different future for her and strongly opposes her becoming a knight or jockey. Later, Se-eun returns home and does not find Thunder around. When she learns that her father sold Thunder, in her anger, she has a heated argument with her father, emphasizing that Thunder means more to her than just a horse. He's a cherished family member. She inquires with Okla about where her father sold Thunder and rushes to the nearby port. Unfortunately, luck isn't on her side, as she arrives too late and the boat carrying Thunder has already sailed away, leaving her in despair. Se-eun cries for a long time and gets enrolled in the Knight Academy by herself. There, she takes care of horses and does the cleaning every day. The training ground mostly has male riders, and they often look down on female riders. Coach Kim, who has an injured foot, is particularly harsh on Se-eun, as he's frequently criticized for selecting her as a student. He lets his trainees do whatever it takes to win, even if it means playing dirty tricks. Se-eun faces abuse and ridicule from her fellow male knights, but she endures it all and performs her duties. Next, Se-eun successfully graduates from the Knight Academy and officially becomes a professional knight. One day, she suddenly encounters a horse with a distinctive white mark on its forehead at the training ground. While it's not Thunder, the sight of this mark reminds her of him, and she even shares sugar cubes with this horse. Right then, Coach Mr. Yoon approaches her, questioning why she doesn't use a whip to make her horse run faster. In response, she replies that building a strong bond with the horse during the race is more important to her than simply urging it with a whip. Later, she returns to her dorm, gazing at Thunder's photo and wondering if he's still alive. In another part of the town, a cowboy on horseback is soliciting customers for their Hong Kong club. Right then, his girlfriend arrives, claiming to have bought sugar cubes, and they rush to a horse market to brand a horse with a white mark on its forehead, probably Thunder. Their plan is to use this marked horse to attract customers to their club. In the next scene, as Se-eun becomes a professional rider, Coach Kim instructs her to interfere with other riders during a game to help her teammates win. Initially, she's reluctant, but has no choice but to follow his orders. During the game, as Coach Kim had instructed, she blocks rider number 5 to hinder his progress. However, she hesitates when rider number 5 warns her about the risk of falling off the horse if she gets too close. Fearing for the rider's safety, Se-eun decides to back off, letting number 5 pass and claim a position. After the game, Coach Kim reprimands her for not following their plan and reveals his intent to have rider number 5 fall from the horse. Se-eun tries to explain her perspective, but Coach Kim refuses to listen and fails to understand her point of view. One evening, Se-eun gets drunk and the class president has to carry her back to the dorm. Along the way, they encounter the same cowboy on horseback distributing flyers. Remarkably, the horse fixates on Se-eun for an extended period and even chases their cab for a while in traffic. Due to her inebriated state, the group remains oblivious to the horse behind them. The following day, once Se-eun sobers up, she's called for another race and receives Coach Kim's orders to interfere with other players again. However, upon examining the horse she's assigned, Bluebird, she notices a leg injury. She then promptly reports this to Coach Kim, but he dismisses her concerns, believing the horse is in good health, and accuses her of making excuses to avoid the race. During the race, Bluebird struggles greatly, and Se-eun fears that continuing could result in severe leg injury. She then decides to withdraw from the race and takes Bluebird out of the track. Coach Kim is furious about her decision and accuses her of being scared of falling off the horse. In response, he removes her from the team. In her defense, Se-eun clarifies that her concern was for Bluebird's well-being, not her own. Soon after, someone informs them that Bluebird's leg is fractured, and the vet confirms he can't race again. Hearing this, Coach Kim, in his anger, blames Se-eun for his own failures and demands that she leave. After losing her position, Se-eun tries to explain the situation to the horse's owner. Shockingly, he too refuses to believe her and intends to sell Bluebird for meat. Heartbroken, she returns to her dorm and contemplates quitting riding. A thorough examination reveals that Bluebird had a pre-existing illness, and the recent injury is a recurrence of an old problem. It's the coach's duty to be aware of the horse's conditions. Coach Yoon recognizes that if Coach Kim was aware of Bluebird's injury and still allowed him to race, it's not Se-eun's fault, but Coach Kim's negligence. Coach Yoon then confronts Coach Kim, leading to a physical altercation where he punches the latter. After being dismissed, Se-eun bids farewell to the class president and her friends and boards the bus back home alone. To her surprise, on the journey, she spots the cowboy on a horse distributing flyers. When she sees the white mark on the horse's forehead, she urgently signals the bus to halt. She then rushes through traffic and is lucky to find herself face to face with the horse. It's Thunder, and they immediately recognize each other. Se-eun is in tears, finally getting to reunite with Thunder after years. Next, Se-eun returns home to her father after reclaiming Thunder from the cowboy and feels that everything is right again. She makes a promise to her late mother in heaven that she'll always stand by Thunder's side in the future. A few days later, Coach Yoon visits Se-eun at her home and is deeply impressed by her racing abilities with Thunder. He recognizes her potential as an excellent jockey and Thunder as an outstanding horse. Observing their remarkable chemistry, Coach Yoon becomes determined to bring her back to the racing world and prove her worth to those who once underestimated her. In the following scene, Coach Kim becomes aware that Se-eun is now part of Coach Yoon's team and sees her as a rival. To beat Se-eun, he attempts to manipulate the class president, who shares a close bond with her, into interfering during a race competition. However, the class president's conscience and his love for Se-eun prevails, and he decides not to interfere or trouble her during the race. On the contrary, when another rider bribed by Coach Kim attempts to push Se-eun out of the game, the team leader, wanting to protect her, intervenes but tragically gets knocked off his horse. He gets caught in a stampede of horses and loses his life. This incident leaves Se-eun devastated, and she vows to take revenge and make those responsible pay, causing her to abandon her former beliefs. Subsequently, Se-eun shifts her stance on being kind to horses. Winning becomes her top priority, even if it means using the whip on Thunder. However, to her dismay, this strategy only results in her consistently finishing last in the rankings. Her relentless efforts also take a toll on Thunder, leaving his back bloody and injured. Observing Se-eun's struggles, Coach Yoon notices her growing indifference towards Thunder's well-being. During this time, he takes charge of Thunder's care and tends to his injuries. Unbeknownst to Se-eun, Thunder's health deteriorates as his nose continues to bleed. Coach Yoon takes him to a veterinarian, and although the initial diagnosis suggests the flu, he refrains from sharing the grave news with Se-eun. Instead, he reprimands her, urging her to refocus on her bond with Thunder and emphasizing that the rider-horse connection is more crucial than using a whip. Hearing this advice, Se-eun's heart grows heavy, and she decides to abandon the whip and approach races with her original mindset. This change in strategy results in improved performance, and for the first time, she secures a top 3 finish in subsequent races. As time goes by, Se-eun and Thunder continue to improve, clinching several championships in a row. Their remarkable success garners attention from the media, and they even visit her hometown to have photos taken with her father. Witnessing Se-eun's strength, Coach Kim calls upon his best student Jeff to challenge her in the next match, determined to defeat her. Meanwhile, Coach Yoon is deeply concerned about Thunder's deteriorating health. After yet another nosebleed, further examinations reveal that Thunder's lungs are failing, and the chances of a successful surgery are extremely slim. Approaching the major race event known as the Grand Prix, Se-eun takes Thunder out for a walk and finally learns the truth about his dire medical condition. She then immediately approaches her coach and urges him to arrange for the surgery. The entire team is willing to do whatever it takes to help Thunder survive. But when Thunder, on the brink of the operation, races out to the track on his own, it becomes clear that he's determined to compete in one last race. Se-eun realizes that Thunder is aware that his time is limited and wants to win his final race. In the final scene, Se-eun honors Thunder's wish with tears in her eyes as she races him. Thunder gives it his all, winning the final race and the Grand Prix competition for Se-eun. However, after crossing the finish line, he collapses and cannot stand up. The movie ends with Se-eun in tears, urging Thunder to get up. Thunder fulfilled his wish, helping Se-eun win the competition, and left an indelible mark in everyone's hearts. This story serves as a reminder of the importance of caring for the animals around us, as they are truly special and deserving of our kindness.